saying? You want us to lose?
No. We've been losing. What I want is for us to finish dead last.
NBA fanatics, I need you to walk with me on this one, because what I'm about to lay out for you, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I would never say that. But what I am saying is if you line up the facts, just the facts, in chronological order, and you squint just a wee little bit, what the Boston Celtics just did to Jaylen Brown is the plot of Major League beat for beat. And I don't mean loosely. I don't mean, oh, it kind of reminds me of the movie. Nah. I mean, if you swapped out Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics ownership group for Rachel Phelps and put Jaylen Brown in a Cleveland Indians jersey, this would be a shot-for-shot remake. Let me show you what I see, and then you tell me if I am crazy.
Wait, I did come in for the 808. 808. Big man in the paint, iTalkHoops. Lay up, free throw and swoosh. Throw and swoosh.
What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzly homer, Memphis X, and I talk hoops. And today we are talking about the Boston Celtics and Jaylen Brown. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Major League, first of all, go watch it. It's a classic. Came out in 1989, and just let me tell you, it never gets old. But here's the quick version. Rachel Phelps inherits the Cleveland Indians. She doesn't want to be in Cleveland. She wants to move the team to Miami. But the only way she can break the stadium lease is if attendance drops low enough. So what does she do? She strips the roster down on purpose. She cuts every good player. She brings in has-beens, cast-offs, guys nobody else wanted. She puts together the worst team she possibly can. The plan: lose ugly, lose so bad the fans stop showing up. Attendance clause triggers, and she gets her relocation. One problem: the players found out, and they decided to win anyway. Out of spite, out of pride, they won the whole kit and caboodle. Now hold that in your mind, because I'm about to walk you through what the Boston Celtics did between May 2025 and July 2026. And I need you to tell me with a straight face that this ain't the same movie. Let's take it back. May 2025. The Celtics are the defending champs. Second round of the playoffs against the New York Knicks. And Jason Tatum goes down. Achilles. Just like that. The franchise player is done, not just for the playoffs, for potentially the entire next season. Now, this is where a normal organization says, all right, tough break. Let's rally around what we got and compete, right? That's what you would expect. That is not what happened. What happened was different. Summer of 2025, Brad Stevens goes to work. And I need you to pay attention to who leaves this building, because the body count is staggering. Drew Holiday, the all-defensive point guard, the guy they went and got to win a championship, traded to Portland for Anthony Simons, and some seconds. Gone. Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, the 7'3" floor spacing center who put them over the top in the finals, traded to Atlanta for George Niang. Al Horford, the veteran anchor, the voice of the locker room, walked in free agency to Golden State. Luke Cornett, their backup center, gone to San Antonio. So let's count. That's 4 rotation players from a championship team, including 2 starters and their emotional leader, shipped out in a matter of weeks. And what did they replace them with? Minimum contracts. Chris Boucher, Luka Garza, Josh Minott, and a 19-year-old rookie named Hugo Gonzalez. That's basically your roster. That's what they gave Jaylen Brown and said, go play basketball. And how much money did they save? $300 million in luxury tax. $300 million. The new ownership group that just bought the team for $6.1 billion walked into a freshly gutted operation with a tax bill that suddenly wasn't a problem anymore. Now, I'm not saying that's suspicious. I'm just saying it's convenient. But there's more. It wasn't just me thinking this was a preconceived tank job. Everybody thought it was a tank job. The so-called experts, the odds makers, the analytics people, they all said the same thing. Vegas set the over-under at 40.5 wins, 40.5. That is basically a lottery team in most years. Yahoo Sports, and I'm going to read this to you because I want you to hear the words. Yahoo Sports wrote, quote, perhaps the best course of action is to embrace the void. Allow the natural gravity of Tatum's injury to pull the team down toward the bottom of the standings and see if a little luck of the Irish can furnish the squad with another blue chip talent. Embrace the void. Odd Shark said, and this one's one of my favorites, you simply can't bet on the Celtics because they're not even betting on themselves. CBS Boston said expectations were, quote, nearly non-existent. One of the best Celtics fan blogs, Celtics blog, called it a gap year. Remember that. And the wins and losses mean less than development. Every single person with a platform looked at what Brad Stevens did to that roster in the offseason of 2025 and came to the exact same conclusion. This team is not trying to win. They are trying to lose on purpose. And you know what? I think every single one of those people was right. I think that was the plan. The plan just didn't account for Jaylen Brown. Because here's what Jaylen Brown did with that minimum contract bargain bin embrace the void roster. 28.7 points per game, career high. 6.9 rebounds per game, career high. 5.1 assists per game, career high. 56 wins. 56 wins on a team Vegas said would struggle to win 40. Second seed in the Eastern Conference, the exact same seed they had the year before when they were a championship team with Jrue Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and a healthy Jason Tatum. 5-time All-Star, All NBA second team, 6th in MVP voting. Joe Mazzulla won Coach of the Year. Brad Stevens, ironically, won Executive of the Year off the back of the man they tried to set up to fail. And Jaylen called it his favorite season. As early as December, he was saying, "I think this has been my favorite season so far." He said he loved watching his teammates grow. He loved the adversity. He loved being the man. He tweeted, and I screenshot this because it's perfect. He tweeted 50 wins in a gap year with a shamrock emoji. 50 wins in a gap year. He was basically mocking the predictions. He was laughing at the narrative. He dragged that team to a place nobody, and I mean nobody, thought they could go. And that's when things got real uncomfortable for the front office. Because, see, Jaylen winning was a problem, and I'll tell you exactly why. The 2026 NBA draft and AJ Dybantsa. Remember that name. AJ Dybantsa, born in Boston, raised in Brockton, Massachusetts, attended St. Sebastian School in Needham. That's 15 minutes from the Garden. His father was a Boston University police officer for 19 years. The Boston Globe called him the most highly touted basketball recruit in Massachusetts history. This kid is a die-hard Celtics fan, wore Kevin Garnett's number 5 jersey, went to games during the Paul Pierce era, sat courtside at Game 1 of the 2024 Finals, the game Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown himself said of Dybantsa, "Great kid, great family, great basketball player." AJ Dybantsa went number 1 overall in the 2026 draft to the Washington Wizards. Now, let me ask you something. If the Celtics had tanked like everyone expected them to, where do you think they would have been picking? Bottom 5? Bottom 3? Maybe number 1? They could have had AJ Dybantsa, a hometown kid born in their city, a Celtics fan since childhood, the best prospect Massachusetts had ever produced, to pair with a healthy Jason Tatum starting in October 26. I think the plan was for the team to start off slow, and then the Celtics could trade Jaylen Brown at the deadline, if not before, and accelerate the tank. Instead, Jaylen Brown won 56 games. The pick landed in the late 20s, and AJ Dybantsa is playing his home games in Washington, D.C. You want to know why they traded Jaylen Brown? That's why they traded Jaylen Brown. He cost them their hometown franchise saver by having the audacity, the nerve to be too good. But it gets even worse, because when they realized Jaylen wasn't going to stop winning, they tried to sabotage it mid-season. February 3rd, the Celtics are 32-18, tied with the soon-to-be NBA champion Knicks for second best record in the East. The vibes are immaculate. The locker room is locked in. So what does Brad Stevens do? He trades Anthony Simons. Simons, the 26-year-old who just dropped 39 on the Heat and 27 on the Bucks in his last week, the guy who was averaging 20 off the bench and had become a fan favorite, the dude the players love. Jaylen said it himself after the trade. He was a great teammate and did everything we needed. Anthony has all the respect in the world from me. They traded him to Chicago for Nikola Vucevic, a 35-year-old center. The official reason, we needed big man depth. The real reason, the trade got them under the first apron and saved them more money. They were in second place, and the front office was still trying to cut costs. The team won in spite of the front office. So the front office took away another weapon. And guess what? They still couldn't lose. Jaylen wouldn't let them. So now we're in the playoffs. Celtics versus Philadelphia. First round. And here's where the movie goes from comedy to horror. Boston goes up 3-1. They're in control. Game 5, they're up 13 in the second half. The series is basically over. And then something happens. They blow the lead in Game 5. Lose Game 6, and now it's Game 7. At home, in the Garden. And who's not playing? Jason Tatum, the franchise player who rehabbed all season, who came back in March, who played down the stretch, who was part of the playoff rotation. Game 7 at home, the biggest game of the year. Jason Tatum sits. Now, hey, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what was going on medically, but I do know what it looked like. And what it looked like was a franchise player sitting on the bench in a suit while Jaylen Brown was prepared to fight for his life again. And who does Coach Mazzulla put on the floor? Jordan Walsh, a surprise starter. Hugo Gonzalez, the rookie who had barely played all series. They threw a kid who logged almost 0 playoff minutes at Joel Embiid in Game 7. What happened? What the heck do you think happened? Embiid went for 34, 12, and 6. Tyrese Maxey went for 30, 11, and 7. Philly completed the 3-1 comeback. Final score, 109-100. And Jaylen gave them 33 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks in 40 minutes in a loss. He left everything on the floor with a rookie guarding one of the team's best players and his co-star watching from the bench. If I was writing a movie about an owner trying to lose on purpose, this is exactly what I would write. And then the summer came, and the mask came all the way off. First, the Celtics tried to trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I don't think they really was going to do that. That trade fell through. Giannis went to Miami. Fine. You can almost understand that one. You're trying to upgrade. I will even admit Giannis is a better player than Jaylen Brown. But then, and this is the part that confirms everything, after they missed on Giannis, they kept shopping Jaylen anyway, even though he never requested a trade, even though he just had the best season of his career, even though he called it his favorite year. Brian Windhorst reported that the Celtics, the actual front office, the people in the organization, did not feel Jaylen had the best season on their team. They felt that Derrick White had a better season.
Look, I just know that the Celtics felt that even though Jaylen Brown was talking about himself for MVP, or there was this MVP campaign for Jaylen Brown, the Celtics did not feel that Jaylen had the best season on their team. And I don't mean Jason Tatum. I'm talking about they felt that Derrick White had a better season.
Despite the fact he had a poor shooting season.
I agree.
But they felt he impacted winning the most.
And the statistics that people used to analyze
Yeah, on, off, and whatnot.
said that.
Yeah.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Derrick White averaged 17 a game. The Celtics thought he was better than the guy who averaged 28.7 and finished sixth in MVP voting. That's what they told people behind closed doors. And then came the trade. Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers, the team that just eliminated them, for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Paul George, 36 years old, got suspended 25 games last year for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy, hasn't played more than 56 games in a season in half a decade. That's the return for a 29-year-old Finals MVP who just put up 28 and 7. They traded Jaylen Brown to the team that beat them in the playoffs for a declining 36-year-old after the man gave them 56 wins on a minimum salary roster and called it his favorite season. If that ain't Rachel Phelps, I don't know what is. So let me lay it out all together one more time. Just the facts. Step 1, Tatum goes down. Stevens guts the roster, saves $300 million in luxury taxes for the new ownership group. Step 2, every expert in America calls it a tank year. The over-under is 40.5 wins. Step 3, the plan is to finish at the bottom, trade Jaylen at the deadline when his value is the highest, and draft AJ Dybantsa, a kid born in Boston, raised in Brockton, a lifelong Celtics fan, number 1 overall. Step 4, Jaylen refuses to cooperate with the tank, goes nuclear, 28.7 points per game, 56 wins, second seed, ruins the whole plan. Step 5, Stevens trades Simons at the trade deadline because he couldn't justify trading Jaylen Brown, trying to weaken the roster while the team is in second place. Step 6, Jaylen still won't lose, tweets 50 wins in a gap year with the Shamrock. Step 7, game 7 at home, Tatum sits, Mazzulla starts a rookie against Embiid, and they lose to Philly in game 7. Step 8, Dybantsa goes number 1 to Washington. The hometown kid is gone. Step 9, the Celtics trade Jaylen, who never asked out, who called this his favorite year, to the team that just beat them in the playoffs for a 36-year-old and some draft picks. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm not saying Brad Stevens sat in a room with the whiteboard and drew this up. But I am saying if Rachel Phelps had an MBA from Northwestern and a fleece vest, her name would be Brad Stevens. Now look, I'm just half joking here. You know, who would think this would be something real? But honestly, the Celtics did to Jaylen Brown is a NBA tragedy. Not a conspiracy, but a tragedy. This is a man who gave the franchise 10 years, a championship, a finals MVP, and then when they stripped everything away from him, he responded with the best season of his life and called it his favorite. That's character. That tells you everything about who Jaylen Brown is. And they traded him away to a rival for declining assets because it was never about what Jaylen did on the court. It was about the plan. And Jaylen Brown's only crime was being too good for the plan. So Jaylen, from a Grizzlies homer who watched his franchise do the same damn thing to Jaren Jackson Jr., I see you. Go win in Philly and make them regret it. So, NBA fanatics, what do you think? Did the Celtics pull a major league on Jaylen Brown? Or am I just seeing red string that ain't there? Let me know in the comment section. I want to hear the case for both sides. Now, if you did make it this far, you already know what to do. Smash that like. And if you're not subscribed yet, we are going to get to 3,000 subscribers by the start of the NBA season. And I want you here with me every step of the way. So hit that subscribe button and roll with your friendly neighborhood Grizzlies homer. I am Memphis X, and I talk hoops. See you guys in the next video. Peace.
Sit down, Charlie.
I did coming for the 808. Big man